Hello guys, I'm that PSP guy. How are you all doing today? Today we're checking out the PLAYZONE emulation SSD and seeing if it is worth the money. Here you can see the device is just a normal SATA SSD, however it does come with a SATA to USB adapter. Just a little disclaimer here, please read through before continuing. Okay, so here we are on the root directory of the PLAYZONE. We'll start with Launchbox, which is the main emulation app for this product. Now while I click through all the consoles this app plays, I'll tell you a little bit more about the PLAYZONE. When I purchased the PLAYZONE, it cost me £100, however at the time of recording this video it now costs £148 on AliExpress, and it advertises over 16,000 games. So let's get started with some PS5 emulation. However, before that, let me tell you about my computer specs. I have a Ryzen 5 7500F, 96 gigs of DDR5 RAM, and an RTX 5070. This means the performance I get in these games and emulators may differentiate from your experience if you purchase the PLAYZONE. So here we can already see an issue with this device. As I load up Resident Evil 4, the game attempts to load and then instantly crashes. Though if we try Silent Hill 2 here, the game works perfectly. As you can see, I've connected my Xbox controller so as we can see these games are actually playable with a controller. So here we are on the main menu. I'll just continue my current save on here. So here we are in Silent Hill 2 playing perfectly fine. Frame rate is smooth, graphics are amazing, it's a genuinely good experience. I'll now go outside into the town. Now regardless of the PLAYZONE, I feel as though the fog is heavily used in this game to increase performance, though I have no evidence of that. Here we are fighting the zombie thing. Even though my fighting is horrendous, you can see it's incredibly smooth and plays perfectly. Let's try another game here. So now let's try some PS4 emulation here and see how this performs with some Sekiro. Just loading into the game now. Oh! I loaded into a death screen. Lovely. Okay, I'm back up. Let's try defeat this enemy. Well, that didn't go well. Again, the game is running perfectly with no FPS drops or performance problems. I've actually really been enjoying this game recently, it's very fun. I'll swing around a bit and defeat a few enemies, then we will move on to the next game. Now let's try out Resident Evil 2 for the PS4. This is another game I've been playing a lot of recently. This is a fantastic game, I can't lie. I've been having so much fun playing it. Again, as you can see, it runs perfectly and looks amazing while doing so. Again, I'll show you some gameplay and let you all see how it plays, then we'll move on. Now we'll try some Nintendo Switch and play The Legend of Zelda. However, I will say the last time I tried to play this game, it didn't work, and everything was just black apart from Link himself.
Wake up, Link.
Okay, this cutscene looks much better than the last time I tried this game. Let's see how it plays on. I'll fast forward through this until we get to the actual gameplay.
That is a sheet of slate. Take it. It will help guide you after your long slumber.
I do not understand the Nintendo controls.
Hold the sheet of slate up to the pedestal. That will show you the way.
This seems to be running perfectly as of now. We'll see what happens when we get outside.
Link, you are the light. Our light. That must shine upon Hyrule once again. Now go.
Yeah, this is running amazingly, I'm actually impressed. Wow, for a Nintendo Switch game this is actually very beautiful. Okay, so now we'll see how well it runs while in combat. So far I haven't had any issues. Yup, it seems to be handling this perfectly fine, no complaints at all. So let's move on to something a bit more Microsoft with Xbox emulation. So we'll test Xbox One first with Cuphead, hopefully it goes well. Fair warning everyone, I'm not very good at this game, so bear with me here.
It's on!
As you all can see, the game runs perfectly. This SSD's read-write speed is clearly fine, there's no problems keeping up with modern games. So now we'll try something a bit more retro with SSX3 on the GameCube. Okay, so for some reason OBS don't want to record this first race, but that's no problem, we fix it in the next clip. On the menu here you can see there is no problems at all.
Hey, Simon! You want to try the title? Let's go!
As you can see, gameplay is perfectly fine, however the audio seems a bit choppy and robotic. I am not sure if this is the game or the emulator though. Although I'm terrible at that game, it ran perfectly and I had no problems. I very much enjoyed my time playing that game. Okay, so here I'm going to show another major problem with the PLAYZONE. I tried to play any PS1 game and they just do not boot at all. I'm unsure why, and we'll probably be contacting PLAYZONE about this situation and see if there's a remedy. Here's another major problem with original Xbox emulation. Xenu does open, however it does not boot into any software or game. I have tested this multiple times vigorously and it just does not work. Okay, so that's enough for launch box. Now we'll check out Play Night, which is the main PC games. However, this reveals something very interesting about how the PLAYZONE works, and so stay tuned to find out. As you can see here on Play Night, a lot of the games here are what were actually on the PS5 and Xbox One emulators, I say with air quotes. This is what's interesting about it, because the saves seem to be interswappable. So when you're playing a PS5 or an Xbox One game, I don't believe it is true emulation, but rather it is just the PC port. And we'll see this with Resident Evil 2. So here we are, and you can see it's exactly where I left off earlier when I was testing it on the PS5. So it's the exact same save, and so I don't believe there is any emulation for the Xbox One PS5 actually happening, but rather it's just the PC game. And seeing what happens to be on those consoles, it puts it in launch box, so that it looks like it's got more emulators, when in reality it hasn't. You can see, however, there's a lot of games here which weren't in launch box, and so they are genuine PC games that are on here that aren't being crossed over, which is a positive if that's what you're buying it for. Which we can see here by playing a quick game of Balatro. Can see here it is running perfectly fine, and that's not a surprise to me, it's purely a PC game. Obviously each PC game depends on your specifications, and mine are quite high end, and so I've no problems running any of these games. As I said in the video, the performance on your end might differ from my own. Just speed through the rest of this session to show that the game does perform properly in all menus and situations. Okay, so here we are on Retrobat, and viewer discretion is advised because flickering does appear. This is due to OBS struggling to record Retrobat. However, this is very cool because it can play Neo Geo, Game Gear, all the Nintendo Game Boy games, and even the old Game & Watch games. So I think it's a really unique app, and there's some unique games and content on there. So I'll just quickly show you how well Tony Hawk Underground for the Game Boy Advance performs using these emulators on Retrobat.
Music power.
I don't really know the controls for this game, however it seems to be playing perfectly and looks very genuine while doing so. So in conclusion, I do believe the PLAYZONE is worth the money, especially if you can get it for around the £100 mark that I did. However, the console does rely off of piracy, which is illegal and wrong. I do not support piracy. And so, I suggest you get it for the value, I don't suggest you get it for how they've used it. And with that, that's that PSP guy logging off. Good night.